It's cold in here. So I completely forgot about this news update because I saw it when I was heading to work, and then I was at work, so I forgot about it. And then I made a video about my thoughts on this deal. And as I was uploading the video, I learned a bit more about the outcome. So I am now doing this revision. Now, the original video was talking about the Activision Blizzard CEO, Bobby, whatever his name is, Kotick, and how he needed to go. And apparently, once the deal is finalized, he will be gone from the team. Granted, they were paying him like they said like $250 million or even more than that to be able to leave with no consequences, no questions asked or whatever. That part I have a huge problem with. If you don't know, there was this huge sexual harassment lawsuit, and he was a major player in the the lawsuit in terms of not doing his duties and not doing his job and decency to report on these issues and get the situation handled. So I don't know how this deal came to be. Everyone is talking about it. It seems to be out of nowhere. And I don't know if these sexual harassment lawsuits made any kind of, delays in the deal, or if they had Microsoft maybe rethink this deal, second guess it. Maybe not. I think Microsoft was mainly focused on getting these games for their console and doing some damage control to maybe help out Activision Blizzard. Now, similar kind of to when Platinum Games was making Bayonetta for Sega, and Sega couldn't afford to help them make the sequel, which is why Nintendo came in and bought out Platinum Games to help them make the sequel, and they gave them free range to do whatever they want with the sequel. And that includes doing whatever they wanted with the Nintendo costumes for Bayonetta, such as Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, the Samus armor, etc. So with this Microsoft Bethesda deal, Activision Blizzard deal, it's strange that they decided to continue with it despite all that lawsuit, business that happened. And I'm happy to see that this CEO Bobby is being gone. They're removing him completely, which could hopefully help make things better for the future. But I don't think he should be able to leave with that much money and without consequences. I think he should be facing some type of consequence. Now, in terms of the deal, I still have this kind of personal opinion that Microsoft could be taking this money and using it for their own, exclusive games that they can develop and make games like Halo and Gears of War and Forza, make other IPs for themselves. And I kind of look at it as buying their way into this new business practice of, owning these different gaming companies to make games for your console only. There's been talks about Netflix trying to get into gaming, so they're trying to get mobile games for themselves. I saw this tweet about how independent gaming is like dead basically because all these developers are being purchased by these corporations to make games for them only. And my main problem with it, and it was similar to my problem with the Bethesda deal, was how you're taking games that was multi-platform, enjoyed by a bunch of people on different consoles, and you're now putting it on one console exclusively. Now, when it comes to the Bethesda deal, as I said time and time again, my angry rant video was to express how others could be feeling about that deal. Whereas me personally, I only really care about Skyrim and Elder Scrolls. Well, not really Elder Scrolls, just Skyrim for Bethesda. I don't really care about Doom. I tried Dishonored. It was okay. It just wasn't really for me. I enjoyed the little bit that I played out of it. Evil Within, it gave me the atmosphere. It is a very scary game. But, I just didn't really care about those games. But you are kind of looking at the situation of you're taking these games and you're removing them from being playable by other gamers who may only have a PlayStation. Look at is it Starfield? That's the next big Bethesda game that everyone talks like it's the Holy Grail, despite not knowing much about the game anyway. and it could potentially be a failure. We don't know. There's definitely a risk with trusting Bethesda, considering past mistakes, and the same thing could be said here with Activision. Now, my opinion is the same in terms of taking some of these games and excluding another set of players who had these games before. Now, I'm fine with a console having their own exclusives if it's their own exclusives. For example, Microsoft having Halo and Gears of War and Forza. That's fine because it was from their company and they built it up. Just like Sony has Spider-Man, God of War, they have the Uncharted series because it was, their developer team who made these games. Yes, Naughty Dog is technically a Sony developer, and they primarily made games only for Sony. I think they made one game or attempted one game on Xbox back in the day, but it's primarily been a Sony developer. Same thing with Insomniac. They only made like one game on Xbox, which was Sunset Overdrive. Everything else they made was on Sony. So my issue here is when you look at games like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and you look at other games such as Overwatch, Call of Duty. These are games that was multi-platform, enjoyed by a lot of people, and even when they had crossplay, people were enjoying crossplay. Now, I'm tired of hearing the reason or excuse of, if you want to play these games, go buy the other console. Number one, a console is over $500. Number two, they're still hard to find, and there's still scalpers out there. I have a Series S and not a Series X. Now, granted, I did want the Series S over the X because it's smaller, it's digital only. I was okay with that. It was the upgrade that I needed. I didn't really need the whole everything with the X. But if I had the money and the table space for it, I would have gotten the X if it was available. Same thing with the PlayStation. I don't have a PS5 yet, and I don't really want to get one right now. I'm kind of waiting for God of War to come out. But when that happens, I still may not be able to get one because it's $500 and there's a lot of scalpers. So I hate hearing people say, buy the other console. You want to play Call of Duty in the future? Buy the other console. You want to play, the next Crash Bandicoot or the next Spyro the Dragon? Buy an Xbox. That's a really crappy, solution to this problem. And especially when you look at some of these games that have been born on Sony. Spyro and Crash were both born on Sony. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I believe the original games all existed on PlayStation 1, so they were born on Sony. And now you got these games that are going to be exclusive to Xbox and Microsoft. And they could potentially say, hey, the next Call of Duty, Xbox only. The next Tony Hawk, Xbox only. Now, again, I have an Xbox, so I can play those games, and I have Game Pass. But what about the players who don't have an Xbox? The ones who don't have Game Pass? What are they going to do then? And that's kind of my issue with these kinds of deals, with the way gaming is becoming, where companies are just saying, you know what, instead of making our own games from our studios, we're going to buy these developers to make games for us. Now, Sony kind of gets the exempt here in terms of the idea. Hear me out, because you're going to misunderstand what I'm saying, because I know how you guys are. They have their own developer studio for their first party games. They rebranded and remade a new developer studio for the PS5, which is what created the Miles Morales game, the Ratchet and Clank game that we just got recently, Little Big Planet game, and the upcoming games like God of War Ragnarok and the Spider-Man sequel. These are a Sony developing team making these games. Now, I think Xbox should be doing the same thing. When you have their Halo and the Gears of War games and the Forza, any other games that they own, that they originally owned or could make, from their developer team. That's what I think should be done with this, with the money that they have. Now, yes, Microsoft does have a higher revenue to spend than Sony, but it doesn't mean Sony is broke. If Sony wants to acquire a team, they can. But Sony just maybe they don't want to go that route. Same thing with I think Sony should have a Game Pass equivalent. But the PS Plus collection is not that, because it sucks and it hasn't been updated since release. So I give Xbox credit on that. They have the Game Pass, and that's great. But again, you are excluding players from playing these titles, and you have these people who were born and they were born as Sony fans. They were raised as Sony fans. They don't want to leave Sony. They don't want to leave PlayStation, and now they have to worry about their favorite games, their favorite IPs being taken away for another company, for the competition. And that's just kind of bizarre. Imagine how insane of a reaction Nintendo fans would give if Nintendo sold Pokemon to another competitor. Now, as someone who plays Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, I think Pokemon should be on one of the competitors because they have much more powerful hardware, and they would allow the developer, Game Freak, to make bigger and better games, because Nintendo is stingy with their developer kits. They don't allow a lot of RAM to be used for these games, so they limit the developer making these games. And that's my point here. If Nintendo was to sell off Pokemon or one of their IPs to one of these other competitors, Nintendo fans would lose their freaking minds. And I think it's similar here in the aspect of there are people who are going to be pissed if they can't play the new Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a multi-billion-dollar franchise, and a lot of people play it. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people hate that they love it. And if you look at the list of games Microsoft now owns from Activision Blizzard, there's a whole list, but the important ones are basically Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Apparently True Crime is owned by them as well now, even though they haven't made a True Crime since the PS2, and the third game was supposed to be True Crime Hong Kong, but it was then sold to Square Enix to make Sleeping Dogs. But either way, you got Overwatch, you got World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Candy Crush, if you want to put that in there. So it's really bizarre that this is what we are seeing with gaming, that major corporations are buying out these developers to make games for them when they have the money and the resources to make the games themselves, and let these developers make games for multi-platform. Because you may also find, what if the developers are now losing revenue because they can't sell their game on the competitor console to make money from them as well. This video has been going on for some time now. Let me see how much time has passed. About 12 minutes and 40 seconds. So that's just my opinion. I am very happy to see that they're getting rid of Bobby, because he was a horrible person. There's a lot of articles out there about him and his sexual harassment and how much of a shitty person that he is. I can forgive Todd Howard for his lies and bullshit about Fallout 76, but it's not as bad as Bobby Kotick's bullshit. I just don't think he should have gotten away with what he did and getting away with all the money he got. But hopefully this deal can help Activision Blizzard fix their damaged reputation because of all these lawsuits. And it looks like it's working. People are really, really excited about this deal. And that's because they want to add more games to their collection, and they're getting more games. Just don't be surprised when Game Pass gets a price increase, because it could happen. They tried it with the gold membership and everyone fought back, and Xbox, agreed and stopped the change. But if they're going to keep adding more and more developers to their list and adding more and more games to the service, you could potentially see a price increase. Netflix did it. Netflix used to be like, what, $10 or $12 for the 4K plan. Now it's like $18 to watch your shit in 4K. So just don't be surprised when it happens. Don't be surprised when it happens. That's my video for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.